Hi, I'm Luke Gilfillan. Welcome to the Lounge with Luke Gilfillan. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that intro. My brother made it. Yeah, that is you. It's a little too electronic for me. I don't really personally like it that much, but it works. I mean, it's not professional, but neither am I, so... We have a few topics to be going over today. One of them is Jeff Sessions was ousted as the Attorney General. He was fired by Donald Trump. Currently, the Attorney General is Matthew Whitaker, but he is expected to be replaced. We have an apology by Pete Davidson on SNL, and the Florida recount, as well as interviews from people at a local protest. Starting off, Matthew Whitaker and Jeff Sessions. So, Wednesday afternoon, President Donald Trump fired the Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who many of you may know for his strict stance on illegal immigration as well as marijuana. Currently, the Attorney General is Matthew Whitaker, who was previously Jeff Sessions' chief of staff. Whitaker is a former U.S. attorney who directed the Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust, which is a conservative ethics group. He ran in the Republican primary for Iowa Senate in 2014. He did not win that. Another person being considered, Whitaker is going to be considered, but I doubt he's going to stick around. Noel Francisco is another person that's being considered. CNN reported that Justice Department officials had begun planning for Solicitor General Noel Francisco to step in as acting Attorney General to oversee Special Counsel probe. As Solicitor General, Francisco is already one of the top authorities within the Justice Department, and he regularly defends the Trump administration. Another person is John Ratcliffe, who was one of the people that was considered as a replacement for Sessions around the midterms. He is a former federal prosecutor and won re-election on Tuesday by an overwhelming margin. Another person is Trey Gowdy, who you may recognize his name from. He is the chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Someone with the Trump administration told CNN that he was being floated as a potential replacement. Trey Gowdy, as you may know, is a conservative representative and former prosecutor who was responsible for the investigation into the Benghazi incident. Another person is Lindsey Graham, who you may recognize from He's a very well-known candidate, especially after the Kavanaugh hearings. He was very outspoken in criticizing Democrats during that hearing. Next story, SNL, which I'm sure a lot of you guys watch. So last week, Pete Davidson, who was a comedian on there, made fun of Dan Crenshaw, who was running for Congress, and he's a former Marine. He's a veteran. Might be a former Marine, I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to say that he's a Marine. Either way, he was, his right eye was knocked out in Afghanistan by an IED blast, causing him to have to wear an eye patch on his right eye. So basically, Pete Davidson made fun of his appearance, saying he looked like a hitman. And either way, a lot of people thought that was offensive. Dan Crenshaw, I thought, handled it really well. He didn't, call for an apology and stuff. He just said that Pete Davidson shouldn't have said it, and he would have wished that he would apologize or something. So basically, this is it.
So much for coming.
Thanks for making a Republican look good.
You gotta stop saying that, man. You've been saying it all day. Please, look, I just wanted to say, for people that don't know, the reason you're wearing an eye patch right now is that you lost your eye to an IED in Afghanistan during your third combat tour. And I'm sorry.
Thank you, Pete. I appreciate you saying that.
So we good?
We're good. Apology accepted.
Just keep breathing.
Okay, so Dan Crenshaw went on to make a joke about Pete Davidson dating Ariana Grande, which didn't last very long at all. And Yeah, and then he went on to make fun of Pete Davidson for his appearance, which is not that hard. Next going on is the Florida recount. And so, as you may know, a lot of Florida races were very close. So, Florida Secretary of State Ken Detzner announced on Saturday that 3 statewide races in Florida would head to a recount. Senate, gubernatorial, and agriculture races, and agriculture commissioner races would be recounted because those races were won by less than 0.5%. So first off, first thing that will occur is a machine recount. If the machine recount shows that any of the races had been won by a margin of 0.25% or less, a hand recount will be ordered and undervotes and stuff like that. Next, we have some great interviews of people at a local protest. As you may know, there have been hate incidents that occurred at Oak Park and River Forest High School, so there are protests about them. What follows are some of those interviews. What's your goal at this event?
Just to stop the hatred that's going on in our school.
Yeah.
It's really bad and needs to be stopped.
Has it affected you personally in any way?
It just made me feel unsafe at the school,
Yeah.
realistically, and it just makes me worried for everybody's safety. And
Alright. Nice. So why did you choose to come here?
I chose to come here because I support what they're marching for, and I feel like it's really needs to be brought to everybody's attention what is happening, and it needs to be brought to attention that it needs to be stopped.
Nice. So, what do you think should happen to the person who first vandalized racial slurs against Anthony Clark on the shed?
Well, I think
If he were to get
I think action should be taken. Illegal action should be taken. I think they should have jail time. I mean, it is a felony to even do that thing.
felony.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
especially
I think
on a school
yeah.
property.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the vandalism in the girls' bathroom?
I think the same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
And then the airdrops.
I think the airdrops, I think still action should be taken. Maybe not as serious action as it wasn't vandalism and on a school property. But I think still action should still be taken. Maybe an expulsion or something like that.
Nice. So what do you think the broader impact of this, what do you think would be a good broader impact of this protest?
I think this protest just wants to bring about change. And maybe to influence people not to do this thing, to show people that it's not okay and it can't happen again.
So is there any administrational change that you're advocating for here? Or?
I think the administration needs to be doing more to stop it, and maybe because I haven't really seen much action so far as what they're doing to stop this from happening, and so I'd like to see that change.
Do you believe there's a legitimate threat of violence at this school right now?
I feel like the next step will be that if it isn't stopped now, I feel like it'll lead to violence.
Okay, thank you so much for the interview. Alright, I apologize we only got one interview in on there. There was confusion because people started speaking immediately after the first interview I did. I was hoping for 2 or 3, but that leaves time for another thing I have to do, which is I need feedback from you guys. First one, if any of you would like to listen on Apple Podcasts, I know that might be better because you could close the app while listening to it. I know some of you might have that YouTube Red or YouTube Music, I'm pretty sure, that lets you close the app during it. I know Apple Podcasts allows you to do that, and I know that's what you want to do. Also, I have another major question for you guys. Should I do daily or weekly? By weekly, I mean one on Saturday, which would be me just going over the news, and one on Sunday, which would most likely be an interview if I was able to interview someone. Or daily, which would be every day, news every day, and interview on either Saturday or Sunday during the week. Except if I did it daily, it would probably turn into a 5-minute podcast every day. And also, should I take the music out of the beginning, which is that intro you heard earlier? Also, just leave your answers to that in the comment section. Just do 1, 2, 3, and in that order if you want to listen back to that. Hi there, thanks for listening, and make sure to give me some feedback in the comment section. Dislike this video and subscribe to the channel. My Patreon link is in the description, as well as my YouTube bio. Please donate to that so I can pay back the mob for the recording equipment I got from them so that they don't send Vince to break my legs with a baton again. Also, all the errors in this podcast are in the description.